folks, Steven here. So this is going to be a recap of my time at Pokemon Go Fest 2020. I suppose "at" is not the operative word there, quite. Obviously, this was a little different than previous years, although the last Go Fest I formally went to was back in 2017. That one did not work out so well. I haven't been to the ones in 2018 or 2019. But let's take a look here and see some of the stuff that happened. I'll maybe go over a few things. If you do have questions, let us know. But as usual, of course, if you've been to my things where I have a for the community days, you know about what to expect here. This is going to be a sort of a quick run through of really mostly day two. Day one, unfortunately, I was pretty busy getting out the podcast episode that came out on Saturday afternoon/evening, and I was also busy getting with a bunch of other stuff. So, and of course, I had to prep for Sunday's morning's live stream. But I did get a chance to do a lot of stuff on Sunday for the second day of Go Fest. But I like to start with a little weather report here. Let's see. So Go Fest this year. This is of course the weather here for Madison. If I actually go to one in the field, they hold in Chicago next year, I will give you the weather there. But in any case, let's see, Saturday was a high of 89, normal is 81, low is 70, normal is 61, so we're about 9 or 10 or 8 degrees above normal. Sunday was the 26th, was a high of 92, normal is 81, low is 73, normal is 61. Wind speed both days was in the 7 mile per hour range, although I swear on Sunday, maybe it was just during the brief time where I was outside getting some errands done, it seemed like there was a lot more wind coming in, a lot faster than 7, but that was the average. Source to this, of course, is the National Weather Service. Alright, so next up. So yes, so just like with the sort of other special research day tasks, so like for community day and stuff like that, you have to buy a ticket. Now, even though I bought this on day 2, it did not get a discount. Wasn't really expecting one, but yep. So it cost $15. I forgot what I paid for the actual Go event portion for 2017. I think it was about that. I'm not sure exactly. But you do get a little symbol on the right-hand side that has a bunch of, this is one of those usual medallions. It's got a blue center, with a bunch of little icons on it. That R looks interesting. So that gets added to your thing for participating, which is nice, I suppose. Alright, so the big deal with Sunday's event, of course, is that we have Team Go Rocket. And they have their confetti raining down from their balloons, I guess. Taking all that over, so for day 2. So I got Go Fest 2020 Rocket Straight to Victory. So you can see there are 3 tasks there in our first go around there. Take a snapshot. Not too difficult for that one, except for the fact that my phone I need to get my phone updated. It does not handle Pokemon Go super well sometimes. Power Pokemon 3 times for 100 Pokeballs, and then send 3 gifts to friends. So your rewards are 20 max revives, which is actually pretty good. Pokemon appears, and 2020 Stardust. The 100 Pokeballs actually was kind of a bit of an issue because it takes up a lot of space. It seems real nice, and it was legitimately helpful, but it takes up a lot of space in your inventory. Now, the other interesting thing is that the shop in-game had, get this, a Go Rocket box. They had their own special item in there for the day. A 20 max potion, 4 rocket radar, 2 star pieces, and 20 max revives for 480, which is a pretty good deal. I didn't need this particular thing. I had some rocket radars, and it wasn't too hard to get additional ones if you knew where to look. But all wrapped up in a nice... I'm not sure how often people give, nothing against the color or anything, I suppose, but very dark, ominous present kind of packaging there. Surprised they don't have a red R on the box there. So, here's some of the early stuff I tried to do. I did, on the left you can see one of the first Pokemon I found was a shiny Charmander with a Pikachu hat, which was kind of nice. Let's see, there was the photo I took with a cameo by Team Rocket Grunt and Wash Rotom. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting addition there. And over on the right, I tried to, that was me trying to fight one of the admins early in the day. This is Cliff. Did not do very well, as you can see if you look very closely there. All three of my Pokemon got knocked out, and I got one of his. So that one, first one didn't work out so great, especially when you don't know what to expect. So we'll see how all that fits together. All right. So once you complete those first tasks, you move on to the second set of stuff. Yeah, a lot of dialogue in all of this, of course, just like with the special research for the community days. And I am looking forward, by the way, to Community Day next month for Magikarp, because I still don't have a Gyarados, so I'll finally probably get enough candy, maybe, as long as I try hard enough to get that. All right. Let's see, Rocket straight to victory. So your second set of tasks, defeat two Team Go Rocket Grunts, rescue 2 Shadow Pokemon, and purify 1 Shadow Pokemon. Again, very generous rewards for especially the middle and the bottom one. And the combined stuff, you get 20 rare candy. So, yeah, they gave you some good stuff for doing your work there. Now, the interesting thing about the Team Go Rocket Grunts, if you were fighting the admins, the Cliff, the other 2 guys, I forget their names, they'll come up later. Those don't count. Those have to actually be grunts. So either you have run out of rocket radars or you go to a Pokestop that has a grunt at it. So that tripped me up a little bit, but I was able to get around it eventually. Let's see. Raid battles. So obviously, as are usually the case during these events, a bunch of raids spawn. They happen obviously a couple times during the day or whatever, depending on what the actual density is normally. But these were all ones that I had no real chance in, and I didn't really bother to try, even though you could get a couple of remote raid passes off the store, I guess. These are level 4 and level 5 raids, and yeah, no one seemed to show up in the lobby for these, so I don't know if it's just my location, but I have had very little luck with remote raid passes on anything that would, you know, truly benefit from having this. So I don't know if I'm just in the wrong place, if I'm just unlucky or what there. Because, you know, some of these look like, you know, especially the Dialga, something that people would try to get. Oh well, those didn't work out, but there's some other raids that I was able to take part in. First of all, there were a bunch of Executor Raids. Alolan Executor was kind of not only occurring in the wild, but also in some of the raids there. I had a Scyther who did very well against that, as you might expect, with its aerial ace and stuff like that. It wasn't, there were other Pokemon before this, so it wasn't like Scyther took that whole thing down by itself, but I managed to get a few more of those Alolan Executor, which also was nice because they count for requirements for catching Execute, which I needed to fulfill for some other stuff I was still working through. And then on the right-hand side, you see I got a Gibble through a raid, which was really nice. It's actually a new Pokemon for me. Kind of surprising I had not managed to get one. I guess it's not a super common spawn, but I didn't realize how. I guess I just didn't have one. I have a slide later where I show some of my other new captures. There were quite a few on the day. Alright, so you get that second set of tasks done. You take care of the grunts, you've purified a Pokemon, and rescued a few others. So now you gotta defeat the leaders, or admin. I guess they're called leaders in here. You got Arlo, Cliff, and Sierra. Cliff you could see in the other picture there earlier. I didn't do so well the first time I fought him. But Arlo, and then guy with kind of like the aviator goggles, I guess. And then Sierra. So the mechanics for this were kind of interesting. I was battling most of my Team Rocket folks off of balloons that would appear overhead. And, you know, since you had to fight specific folks here, if you got the wrong one, you just have to wait for it to, like, respawn or something like that to rotate and hope you got one of the other ones, because you do have to go through each of them individually. And you get some more rewards there. Let's see. more max revives. They really wanted to make sure that you weren't running out of Pokemon to fight these admins with, so they gave you a lot of those max revives. So don't be surprised if folks have a lot of those in the near future. Excuse me, for playing the game. Let's see. But I was able to beat both of them and to take care of Cliff once I knew their team. I think for Arlo, I have a Flareon that's pretty good level, and since most of his Pokemon first two Pokemon are like at least 2x, maybe 4x weak to fire, they take pretty good damage. And then he has a Moltres, which actually worked out quite well for me for whatever reason somehow. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Sierra has, I forget exactly what she has in there, but I was able to take care of that, and then Cliff also. So, what's sort of the benefit of doing this? Well, you notice here they have these, look on the left-hand picture, they have all these spawns that come up. You get some pretty good stuff. So yeah, you get the Shadow Legendary Pokemon here. You got Shadow Zapdos, Shadow Moltres, and Shadow Articuno. All Pokemon I did not have. I'm actually not as complete in this as I would really like, which is kind of sad. But it was nice to fill in those slots in my Pokédex. I'm getting relatively close to getting the Kanto Pokédex fill. So those are some nice pickups. They are all Shadow Pokemon, though, so I'll have to eventually purify them, which is difficult when you have to get candy for them. That's probably one reason they gave you a lot of rare candy through some of the objectives for this event. Here's where, let's see, you get a little bit of a hint at something a little bit bigger and why Team Go Rocket has some motivations here that are, trying to get some things, something very important. It says there's some sort of energy out there. It could be a mythical Pokemon. It sounds like is what they expect there. So we'll find out what that is in a little bit. But the next thing you have to do, obviously, is you have to fight Giovanni. Yes. So there's his Pokemon Go model. Since I haven't had as much of a chance to get Team Rocket stuff lately, this is my first time battling him. He's clad in his mostly black outfit like that, and one of his Pokemon is Machamp, but I think the real showstopper is, yeah, you gotta fight his Shadow Mewtwo. So, honestly, not as difficult as I might have feared. I had a slacking, you can see there, 3606 CP, so still not as high as Mewtwo, technically speaking, but was able to kind of drain out the blocks from him and use its attacks to knock out Mewtwo. Not too difficult, to be honest, but I have obviously some very good tools. This is a slacking that has Yawn, and then Body Slam as its charge move, so it does reasonably well there. Alright. Interesting. Oh, why this is a blank slide there. Must have accidentally put that in and forgotten to take it out. Let me see, does it? Yeah, weird. Well, I'm not perfect. So I was able to beat Giovanni, and that's, the last thing. I shall step aside this time. And then Mewtwo. Now, the interesting thing with Mewtwo is I think at a certain point, I'm not sure if it's designed this way or what, but it stopped decrementing like my Ultra Balls and stuff like that, because I knew I threw a ton of them at there. It says 22. I think it got to 21, and it just stopped decreasing. Not sure why specifically that is. But there you go. I've got a Shadow Mewtwo that I will also need to purify. So you might see some folks walking around with some Legendary Birds or Mewtwo soon, if you haven't already, because I have a feeling you're going to need to get some candy that way. Alright, and then, let's see, so that was that. But, gee, what was that mystery thing? Yes, it was Victini. Part of me was wondering if it was Mew, because I still need to get one of those in this game. But, no, it's actually Victini, which I guess I think they had not implemented yet. And, of course, Go Fest is a great time to do that. This one, not nearly as difficult to capture. And, obviously new to my Pokédex. You notice there it's actually the first one in the Gen 5 block. It's got that weird thing where it comes before instead of at the very end of the generation like you would normally think. Yep, and personally I'm kind of waiting. One thing you get when you complete, there's one last set of tasks you have to complete. Let's see, do I show them there? No, I don't. Okay. But and you can get a Victini shirt. I'm kind of hoping they do something with Meloetta soon if they haven't already. Another mythical from Gen 5. Being musically inclined as I am, of course, you know, that's a kind of something I'm really interested in. So, all right. So, as I mentioned, I captured a lot of new Pokemon. I got, believe it or not, my first Farfetch'd was actually of the Galarian variety. First Marowak was the Alolan one. Got a Weavile. I think that was one of the ones you get as an event from something. Golem, got a Shadow Pinsir, Togetic, and a number of others. There's a number of other ones I could have tossed in here. Probably 4 or 5 other ones that I had pictures of, but these were some of the ones that I thought were pretty cool. Some were kind of surprising I hadn't caught yet. Other ones were I was really glad to have finally gotten them. So, all right, let's see. Accomplishments. I reached level 29 relatively early on, and with some other bonuses I acquired, I was able to work on some of the stuff. Like I'm still working on my Meltan and other stuff like that. But I was able to make pretty good progress in the Jumpstart research. I was able to make some pretty good progress towards level 30. That's obviously an important one. Let's see, and then I also earned a new medal for purification. I managed to purify, let's see here, my 5th Shadow Pokemon. Of course, that'll get me, when I try to capture Shadow Pokemon off Team Rocket grunts, it'll give me a little bit of an advantage there. Alright, so, next up is... Okay, I have a few overall thoughts I wanted to share in here. So first off, definitely better than 2017. Of course, 2017 was the first Go Fest. They ran into a lot of logistical problems in Grant Park and Expanded Radius. I have a video on that with very different facial hair. But this was definitely better than that. Even if I'd had this experience and going down to Chicago for it, I think I would have enjoyed it as well. Let's see. Now, no discount for starting on day 2. You know, it was just sort of the choices I made of how to structure my weekend and get stuff out there. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Great legendary mythical Pokemon. You know, as long as you completed all the Team Rocket stuff on day 2, you got some pretty good stuff. So, let's see. And then, one suggestion, if they have another evil team invasion next year, whether that's Team Go Rocket or if they try to put in, like, Aqua Magma or Team Galactic, you know, Go Galactic, huh? That sounds kind of interesting as a name. One thing I noticed is after you beat Giovanni, you know, you only get to face him once, really. Unless I guess you can maybe find him with a rocket radar somewhere in the wild. But as far as this particular event, you know, he comes around once. And it would be nice if sort of like, you know, since they wrote so much text for the grunts and other folks, the grunts especially have text for this event specifically. That's a little different than what you would see if you would see them on a normal day. It'd be nice if it kind of changed a little bit. Like, I'm not sure exactly how you would phrase it. Like, oh, even though you beat our boss, I'm still going to fight for the honor of Team Go Rocket, or something like that. To sort of acknowledge that, you know, we're going to still keep fighting this, you know, as if you're like what you did made some difference, but then, you know, it would reflect that somehow would be kind of nice. So maybe for next year they can work on something like that. But overall, I'm very pleased. I did feel like I got my money's worth out of this weekend, and I'm curious to know what the rest of you found out there. So let's see, that should be the last slide. Indeed it is. All right, well, if you need some more things to look at, I knew this would be relatively quick. It's designed to be as such. Don't forget that, first of all, there's a new podcast episode that came out on Saturday that has the Jordan Moore interview, which you can also watch in video form on here. There's also the discussion Ann and I recorded on Sunday morning talking about the music of Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for the Game Boy Color. I think that one actually, audio-wise, worked out kind of okay compared to some of our other ones. Anne was actually a little bit louder than I was. We're still working that stuff out, but I think we came up with a better solution this time around. And I think we've learned some things for next time as well. But let's see. Other than that, I think that mostly covers what we need to know at the moment. But if you have any comments about Pokemon Go Community Day or next month or Go Fest, and of course next month Community Day is going to be Magikarp and Gyarados, so looking forward to that. But yep. All right, folks. Thanks.